name and address. Roll call. Kelly.
Deputy Mayor Eastman.
Here.
Councillor Tarian.
Here.
Councillor Hare.
Here.
Mayor Bissonnette.
Here.
Councillor Rabs.
Present.
Councillor Bishop.
Aye, he is absent this evening.
Councillor Rankin.
Here.
Thank you. Presentations and town council recognitions, we do not have any. Under consideration of minutes of previous meetings, those weren't included in the packet. That was just a oversight. We'll table that for and consider those at our next meeting. Reports, documents, and correspondence. We have several items. The first is a report from the Finance and Investments Committee.
So the Finance Committee met this evening and we reviewed the quarterly financial report and just a brief snapshot. We expect to have had about 25% of the budgeted appropriations met so far the first quarter. So we're at about 23%, so we're right on track with that. And on the revenue side, the collections total close to 47% of the annual estimate. We also We had a chance to review the draft of the fund balance policy, and we made a motion to move that to council for approval. We had a couple of updates on the ambulance revenue subsidies and contracts, as well as the animal shelter subsidies and contracts. In a nutshell, the animal shelter subsidies are gonna take a little bit more work to sort of glean all the information that we need to come up with a contract that has the best interest of Bucksport. So, and then we adjourned.
Thank you. Questions for Councilor Hare? Next is report from the Services Committee.
There was a proposal to outsource the ambulance billing and eliminate the vacant finance department position. And the committee recommends that we place a resolve on the next council meeting to approve one of the proposals.
The department head reports were included in your packet. Any questions?
I have are you ready?
Please.
Okay. The department head reports, Rich, if I could bother you for just a minute. The two things. You have in here, set up a meeting with Senator Collins, Senator King, Representative Golden staff, and yourself, town manager. And any update you can share with us for federal funding on this projects?
All of our projects currently are frozen due to the government shutdown,
Until when?
because of the government shutdown.
Okay. And then the other thing in here was the property across the street. There was a gentleman here a couple meetings ago, and he no longer part of the project, but staying engaged. And he indicated, I thought back then it was gonna kick off in December, and now we're looking into the spring.
I think he said the spring because they couldn't do it in December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking 27 Main Street.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Rich.
But moving ahead with the same proposal though.
Uh,
They weren't clear whether they were gonna rent or sell.
yes, that's correct because he's left, but like Councilor Rabb said, he's gonna see the project through for the construction. But
A follow-up question, if we didn't have the shutdown, is the funding still in order for our federal projects?
So for the town dock, we've been waiting, we're working with HUD. And we were waiting on NOAA. We were delayed because of some endangered fish. And they thought they might have to come and to Bucksport. But we got word about a month prior to the shutdown on August 15th that they did not need to come. So we could continue with our NEPA permit. And when we met, they wanted the information, the emails that I had gotten, because they were going to forward it to someone who worked closely with them to get this expedited, because we've been sitting on that money for a couple of years now. Originally, the engineers, the consultants budgeted an 8% contingency, but I saw what was going on with construction costs and timing of projects that were happening in the industrial park, that I actually bumped the contingency from 8 to 15%. So it'll still buy us time. And if this is continually ongoing, because we're only allowed to work in the water from November 6th to April 9th, the $825,000 that we got from the Penobscot Estuary Trust settlement could offset anything if we do end up less. The VPI project, some of the citizens call it a beautification project. Those were two different items. The beautification was a project that was being worked on by Main Street Bucksport, and that ended. This is the downtown economic safety and accessibility project. Ours scored extremely high and is at apparently towards the top of the list, but those funds are frozen. Internet, there was a grant for more Fidium fiber. So if you're not aware, the town of Orland got Fidium fiber. The hub is here in Bucksport. So from US Route 1 all the way down to Central Street and up each of the side streets towards Franklin, including Pine and School and Mill and Federal. Also hearing Elm, but that wasn't on the list I was originally told. They're all on Fidium, and a lot of people have switched over. The next grant that the town wrote a letter of support for would do a larger portion of the community. And then there's one other grant, the USDA RBDG funding for the Opportunity Zone. We weren't selected, but there's a pool of monies that's typically available, and an announcement could be made in November that if there were extra monies that we could potentially collect those funds, but that's also frozen because of the government shutdown. And I think that's all for the US government grants. Yeah.
Any other questions? And then last, under reports, documents, and correspondence, we did have notification of a Verona Island police call on October the 3rd, and that was included in your packet as well. That was from the state police. We do not have any discussion items this evening. We do not have any public hearings. We do have two new ordinances to consider, which would be the first reading of the adoption of the updated general assistance ordinance.
Yes, this is really a yearly housekeeping matter. Every year, the general assistance maximums are updated, and so that's what this is. We'll have a public hearing and a second reading at your next meeting.
Questions for the town manager?
Seemed pretty much like standard language changes.
Yeah, it's just the figures, really the only change.
Motion approved.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. First reading of the Town of Bucksport Code Adoption Ordinance.
Yes, and I want to apologize for the 846-page packet. I got some heat for that, but this is something that was on a couple of agendas ago. It's basically the reformatting of the town code. The reason that we're doing a first reading again is because the code enforcement officer had to add a definition for medical marijuana, which was not in there. So that was different than what we had done a first reading on at your last meeting. So again, the request is a first reading and then second reading and public hearing at your next meeting, and then we can go live with the newly formatted code.
Motion approved. Second.
Questions?
I had a question, trying to find it. There's somewhere that talks about, in two places it mentions a date of December 31, 2024. I don't know if that's something that needs to be updated. It was in the short-term rental section. I think that same date is mentioned twice.
I don't think that was an update. That was when we put that
That's when they
into
implemented
into
the
effect.
It says it will operate until December 31st, 2024.
Okay. We can certainly take a look at it.
Yeah, yep, I do remember there was a portion of that when we took action that was only for a finite period of time, but that's the best my memory's doing right now.
And it
so,
and it
yeah.
does go, it says something about it would be allowed to continue beyond a date, but then it says until 2024.
I'll double check with Luke on that. I think that's just how I assume how the ordinance was written
Mhm.
at that time.
Mhm.
But we can certainly double check that ahead of the second reading.
Any other question?
Just a comment that somewhere down the road, it'd be good to address the reference of only a male gender in the town council code piece.
Sure.
But not for this this cycle.
Yep. Anything else? Right. It's the pleasure of the council.
We have a
We have a motion and a second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor? Opposed? All right. We have a number of agenda items this evening. The first is Resolve 2026-46, approving the road race permit for the 2026 Bridge the Gap Road Race. Would the council like to proceed?
motion to approve.
Second.
Questions? Comments?
Who's doing it? Is it the Y?
It is not.
So-
It is
It's
Jen
elite.
Scala.
Elite wrestling.
Yes, there it is.
Eastern Maine Elite Wrestling.
I noticed they said vendors not at this time. Is there an understanding that they may change their mind on food vendors, sorry.
Do you know, Rich? I don't know.
Just curious.
Any other questions?
Somebody's car alarm is going off?
Is that you, Rich?
Oh, not me.
Chief Gagan will figure it out.
All those in favor? Yep. Resolve 2026-47, approving liquor license renewal for Buckley Tower Hospitality LLC, doing business as Warren's Waterfront Restaurant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Set the whole down.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Yep. Resolve 2026-48, authorizing municipal quitclaim deed for map 017 lot 007. The council,
I would
please.
just add, these three agenda items are properties that had liens that had matured into foreclosure status that have since been paid off, so. That's what these next three things require your signature.
On 48, what is the pleasure of the
Motion to approve.
Second.
questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Yep. And resolve 2026-49, authorizing municipal quitclaim deed for map 013 lot 050.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Yep. Resolve 2026-50, authorizing municipal quitclaim deed for map 031 lot 004.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? Favor? Opposed? Yep. Resolve 2026-51, authorizing the sale of tax acquired property identified as map 017 lot 034 at 1115 Millvale Road. The council like motion.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Just say that these next, I'll back up. 3 or 4 months ago, we sent out notices to 15 different real estate properties, real estate parcels in town that had been in foreclosure status for a number of years with no payments, some of them since 2020, 2021, 2022. The town makes every effort to send emails, send certified letters and regular mail, and we were able to whittle that list down to these 5 accounts, so 10 accounts did satisfy that foreclosure amount, but these are the accounts that remain, that there have been no contact with the town and remain in foreclosure status, so.
Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Next is Resolve 2026-52, authorizing the sale of tax-acquired property identified as map 006, lot 066 at 788 State Route 46.
Motion approved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Sir?
Hey, I'm Larry Perkins. I happen to be the owner of that property. I'm not sure when the last time it was paid. I get the minimum in Social Security, and the town, I apologize for correcting you, but they really haven't been that good. I was in this situation once before. I explained to them that it's very inconsiderate to send registered letters to poor people. The town can easily get a hold of you and do that, so, you know, I must admit I'm a procrastinator, but I've also had 3 heart attacks in the last 3 years, and other things. I can't tell you when I'll be able to pay, but I really would appreciate it if you didn't try to take my land. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Is this your primary residence or?
Yes. And I have a 44-year-old autistic son that just had to move in with me recently, so it hasn't been easy, but
What was the last payment on this?
4721.
4721.
Oh, okay. Mr. Perkins, I have a question. You said you wouldn't know when you'd be able to make a payment. So there's been no attempt to sort of come in and talk to the town and try and set up a payment arrangement?
I've had a lot going on in my life. My youngest son just a week or so just got out of the hospital. He spent 7 days in intensive care and then 3 days in the recuperation phase. And I just had a lot going on, and no, I have to admit that I haven't been too thrilled with the way the town has treated things lately, and the registered letters and things, they just, I don't know, I don't see them as logical.
Make a comment?
Sure.
Doesn't the state of Maine have a law that you can't take a man's property if he's medically unfit and cannot work? Right, there's no law against it?
I don't believe so. Not that I know of.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He wants to set
Can
up
I
a
ask
payment
you
plan.
one more question, Mr. Perkins?
Certainly.
So you're sharing that you have some discontent with how the town is working with you.
Well, it's as much my fault. I haven't worked with the town very well.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to get to, a discussion where we can kind of agree that it's sort of up to you as well to sort of come in and,
Yes.
because it's been 4 years. And so if the town were to talk about payment arrangements and things like that, it would be helpful to understand that you would see that as a responsibility as well, to come in and communicate and things
Oh,
like
I
that.
believe I owe my taxes. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. If I had the ability to pay today, I would.
Okay, I just misunderstood because it sounded like you were sort of saying it was because you weren't happy with how we were
Oh, no.
doing things. I just wanted to be able to get to a place where we can have a conversation that's.
Oh, no, I take responsibility myself.
And it is the case that when someone does, like these other people who have come to make an arrangement, we would accept that. So we would just need some what indication would we need? Would the town need?
Really, he just needs to come in and meet with me.
Is it possible to consider starting the conversation for him to come in and make an arrangement, but with sort of a timeframe that if that due diligence on your part, like if you don't make an attempt to come in and have that conversation, then we'd have to bring this back to council at a time that we set. I think it would sort of be an expectation, or I'm speaking just for myself, if I wanted to make an arrangement or vote for an arrangement, that I would wanna set a parameter that you'd also come in and have that conversation, and if you didn't, we'd have to sort of revisit this discussion again.
That's acceptable for me, yes.
I like your idea to, like to think about tabling this for tonight, like to have them come in, have a conversation, and in particular, I believe, in the state of Maine, part of the conversation could be to see if he qualifies. You can defer property taxes in the state of Maine for up to $100,000 if you're over a certain age and make less than income is less than $70,000 a year, to explore whether or not that would be a potential remedy for him. But I think we should at least have the opportunity to chat and just my thought.
I agree, and some of that will lie with you, Mr. Perkins, to sort of look for some resources to help your current situation. It sounds like you're right up against it, and there'll be things that, you know, if you're sort of understanding that you said tonight you don't have the money, but that it would be on you to look up some resources that could help you in the situation and help what sort of Councilor Rabs is suggesting, as well as I would think we'd need an expectation that you came in and talked to the town and figured out a path forward.
I think a reasonable expectation would you'd come in next week and have this discussion. Not a month from now, but.
And I think another reasonable expectation that needs to be put in place is this, that once a payment plan is put in place, that payment plan does have to be held to. I think if it's one of those things where a payment plan is established and then something happens, which is, I'm going to just state the facts, that happens regularly when the council opts to make this decision. Then it's gonna come back to the council and we'll have to consider the fact that happened as well. Certified mail is that's how we ensure that somebody is in fact getting the mail, that they know that there is a process in place for this to happen. I guess I can appreciate the fact that that might have been annoying or embarrassing, but I think you stated it best, that there's been a bit of procrastination, et cetera.
Yes.
I certainly understand your circumstances, but I would say that for my part, if I were to look at this, this is the time where now the procrastination stops and a plan is put in place and it's carried forward.
Okay. To reply about the registered mail, it's a statute in the state. It's not a law. You don't have to do it. But Bucksport has chosen to do it.
Sir,
But
a
it's-
statute is a law, it's the same thing, and we are required to certify tax. We're required by law to do that.
Okay, I'll look into it again,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Sure.
I've had a little bit of law school, so
Sure, yeah.
you could be correct.
We are, on the statute, no, one thing we are certain about, we do have to certify the letters for foreclosure announcements. That's required by law.
I'll withdraw my motion. We have to do it that way?
You probably just voted down.
And vote against it.
Okay.
Yep. We have a motion and a second on the table. I've had questions. All those in favor? Opposed? What's the new motion?
Motion to allow Mr. Perkins to work on a payment plan with the town.
Contingent that
Contingent,
he
he does, starts it next week and stays with it.
Shows up next week with a plan and follows through with it.
So that a plan is at least being discussed before Thursday of next week?
Yes.
Okay, acceptable with you?
Yes.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Resolve 2026-53, authorizing the sale of tax acquired property identified as map 008, lot 002, 883 River Road.
Motion approved.
Second.
We'll have a motion in a second. Questions or comments?
In the old days, you had a right to bid, a person had a right to bid on a piece of property that went up for taxes. What's going on now?
Can't do that.
It'll be listed.
Huh?
It's gonna be listed with a realtor.
Okay,
At fair market value, no.
And the town only gets what they're owed and the owner gets the remainder.
okay.
That was a state law change 2 years, 3 years ago.
Last year, just
It
last year.
was last year.
Yeah, we just did it, I think, last spring.
The town can only collect what is owed plus realtor fees, and then the owner gets the amount of whatever it's sold for above and beyond.
Okay.
Any other questions? All's in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Resolve 2026-54, authorizing the sale of tax acquired property identified as map 046, lot 046 at 1224 Millvale Road.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions or comments? All's in favor? Opposed? Resolve 2026-55, authorizing the sale of tax acquired property identified as map 017, lot 012. It's on Millvale Road, lot 017, as I said, -012, but there's not a street address with it. It's a parcel of land.
Motion approved.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed?
Did we skip one?
I hope not.
I don't believe
I
so.
don't believe so.
I think so.
We talked about
Because the
it.
packet is 800 pages.
No, but I
Let's
thought
just
they
make
were-
sure,
thought we did
let's
four.
make sure.
Thought we
We
did
talked
four in
about
there,
788
five.
State Route 46 with Mr. Perkins. And before that, we did 1115 Millvale Road, 883 River Road, 1224 Millvale Road, and then the last one we just did is the parcel of land on Millvale Road. Resolve 2026-56, canceling the November 27th, 2025 Town Council meeting. Council like to proceed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
For those of you keeping your calendar at home, November the 27th is Thanksgiving. We will probably have a similar conversation for December. The fourth Thursday in December is Christmas Day. Questions?
Nobody wants to be here Christmas Day.
I don't think anybody does on Thanksgiving either. All's in favor? Opposed? Two. Report from the town manager.
Thank you. It's been a busy week for the restaurant scene in Bucksport. Stowaways officially opened on October 3rd, followed by the opening of Sweet Cheeks Diner this past Tuesday. Both establishments reported very strong opening days and enthusiastic community support. Adding to that momentum is the Salsa Shack, currently operating as a food truck out of Ellsworth, has announced plans to open a permanent location in the former Friars My Buddy's Place location. And our economic development director will be doing ribbon cutting ceremonies at these new establishments. Absentee ballots are now available for the November 4th election. The final day to request a ballot is Thursday, October 30th. Highway Department currently has a vacancy and interviews are scheduled for next week. The goal is to have that position filled before snow flies. Earlier today, I met with several citizens who have been active participants in the landfill closure process. Following that discussion, I submitted a letter to the Department of Environmental Protection on the town's behalf, providing comments on the department's initial review of Bucksport Mills landfill closure plan. Last week, I had the opportunity to tour the Buck Memorial Library and meet with Library Director Lisa Ladd and several of the trustees. We discussed the library's current projects, long-term vision, and fiscal considerations moving forward. It was a good meeting and I enjoyed learning about the many services that the library offers. Finally, a reminder that the Bucksport Paper Mill Museum will host its grand opening on Sunday, October 12th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at 4 Mariner Way. Their team has worked diligently to transform the former mill gatehouse into a museum honoring Bucksport's proud paper-making heritage. That's all I have.
Thank you. Rich, quick question. The Salsa Shack was out in Orland at one point too, correct? I'm thinking of the right place?
Yes,
Okay.
in the winter, so in spring, summer, he's on the Ellsworth waterfront, and then in the winters, he's in the Orland Community Center, but that will change, looking at the first week of November for an open date.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jacob?
No questions. I just have to say though, it's nice to not be able to see when you pull out of this parking lot now with all the traffic from all the restaurants that we've just landed in town. It's nice to see those spaces full.
Things are going very well on that front, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Discussion of items not on the agenda for council and public. We'll start with the public. Mr. Ryan.
There was an elderly person that went to the tax collector, did not make any paperwork out, and they reduced his taxes from $5,000 to $3,000. Without, what happens if another elderly person, such as me, wanted to go and get my taxes reduced by $2,000? What would happen?
There had to
I
have been a reason.
suspect the tax assessor would go through a formula to assess your situation that's unique to you and make a decision based on your situation.
Was the assessment changed or just the
Was there a mistake in the assessment?
or was their bill reduced? What do
The
you?
bill was reduced $2,000.
I'm sure that there was an abatement granted. I'm not sure which account this is. I'm sure that there was an abatement granted, and usually when that happens, there was an error in the assessment.
Okay.
So I'm not sure which account you're talking about, Bill.
I can't say. I was asked not to say anything. He's not here tonight. So, but elderly people on a fixed income after I've been retired 20 years, and our taxes keep going up, but my income does not. What can the council do about that?
The state was supposed to take care of that when they came out with that plan, but that blew up on them. Last I heard, they were still trying to figure that out.
So if I wanted my taxes frozen of 2 years ago, it couldn't be done by this council?
No, I don't.
Not on an individual basis, no.
No, I mean talk about overall people that over 65.
Property taxes in the state of Maine are, by state law, are based on property valuation.
Yes, but I'm talking about this town could freeze all the people at a reduced rate at 65 and frozen forever to the
But who do you
date.
think's gonna pay the remainder of that bill?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I mean, we have an older population that would throw the burden on everybody under 65?
No. What I'm.
It would have to.
Yes, it would. Well, the taxes would go crazy then. My taxes, I think, are gone crazy already. Well, I went
mean,
from
there's
5,000.
a process to appeal that, but, you know, we can't make everybody over 65 pay less, and everybody under 65 would have to carry the balance of that. That's not,
I don't even.
That's why I keep asking you people to balance the budget. How much debt do we owe now?
it's not you know, we have debt
Okay.
bill, but
I'll
there's
read-
also,
All right, I'll stop
we have
talking about
employees.
that. Let's talk about balancing the budget completely. How much money does this town owe right now?
you mean to be debt-free?
Yes.
I don't know that a municipality can run that way. Sewer plants, you know, things like that, we can't run that way.
Okay, I'm not explaining it. You said, last time I asked you, you said we was $11 million or something in debt.
No,
We
Man.
owed.
No,
At the end of 24, town's outstanding debt service was 9.8 million. And 7 million of that is loans on the sewer treatment plant and the CSO building.
Okay,
So the remainder is governmental debt, but like I said, 7 of it is in the sewer department.
All right. So now, what's gonna happen if you start wanna, fix up the main street and the federal government doesn't pay that bill?
And it won't
We'll
happen.
have
It won't be happening,
Project
sir.
won't
Yeah.
happen.
Okay, all right.
If that money goes away, we can't come up with.
What about the money that was spent on engineering, the engineers that did all the
Mr. Orchid,
marketing?
we have covered this in previous meetings. I want to be clear on this. This is something that we've visited now. This will be the 3rd time. The DOT is who is responsible for the engineering.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so,
The town of Bucksport did not pay for the engineering. The last time we had that conversation, you responded that, well, the money does come from somewhere. You're absolutely correct. But the town of Bucksport did not pay for that, for that engineering.
okay, that's all I need. All right, I'm done for the night.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right,
Yep.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? Yep, Mr. Perkins.
I'd rather leave on a positive note than a negative one. You briefly mentioned, I believe you, the Bucksport Animal Shelter. I'm the lucky recipient of one of those 26 dogs that was alive, and he has kept me from being depressed and anxious most of the winter, so.
That's wonderful, thank you for sharing that.
Yep,
What did you name it? Or did you keep the name?
His name was Kilo and I kept it.
nice.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Anything else?
On subject of,
We'll go to the council. Council Rankin.
all right, we haven't gone to council.
No, we have now.
On subject of animal shelter, the bottle collection that we're doing at the transfer station. I was at the transfer station today. I think we need to stay on top of that. Like every week, whether there's a lot or a little, shuffle them down to, cause it was just an enormous pile and they've done a really good job of making that transfer station as clean and orderly as a transfer station can be. And it doesn't look good, and I know there was, you can't stop rats from a transfer station, but that's creating excessive rats in the building.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. Some of the challenge that we have run into, at least previously, I don't know if it's still this way, is that the vendor that we take the bottles to only wanted 2 loads at a time. He did not want to get bombarded with all of the bottles at once. And so we were triaging them and storing them in the salt shed to get them out of the transfer station. But with winter coming, we
There's probably
can't.
some salt in there now.
Yeah, we can't do that now. So, but I agree with you, and we are trying to stay more up on.
And if it was a weekly, like every Friday faithfully run, I don't think there would be more than 2 truckloads at a time. I think probably 1 truckload would handle it. This looks like it hasn't been touched in several weeks.
I went last weekend and it was empty, and I've seen it, I go every Friday, and I've seen it fill up really, really quickly.
Well, maybe it has.
Yeah.
Truthfully, we get bottles, it isn't just Bucksport bottles that we're getting, we get bottles from all over the place. So, and I do hear, and I agree with you.
It's a complicated problem to
But-
solve.
But individuals have a place they could take them other than the transfer station? They
can-
go directly,
they can
there's an
bring
account
them-
set up, right? So
yes,
they could,
yes, they
you
can
can
bring
encourage
them-
people to take them where they're going.
They just have to tell the bottle barn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tell them what they're dropping them off for.
Yeah, I wonder if they could put a sign up at that point when we're at our max that just says, take your bottles to the bottle barn. Cause I like clockwork, almost see them loading up every Friday. Maybe that's indicative of my habit or their habit, but we seem to run into each other on Fridays.
It's
when
what
they're-
the vendor has asked for.
It's Fridays.
On Fridays, so
Yeah.
they can take care of it.
Yeah.
And there's a press release that's gonna come out that's directing people to send them straight to the bottle barn or make any cash donations here to the town office.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Right.
It is, it just,
Yeah. But It's the rat problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I didn't miss anyone. Rich, I'm gonna ask you for a comment, actually, for once. Could you just go over the ribbon cuttings that are happening, the things that are happening this weekend on that front?
Yes, so Saturday, the 11th, we'll have a 9 a.m. ribbon cutting for Sweet Cheeks Diner in the former Glenn's Place. At 10 o'clock, we're going to have a rededication ceremony at Ian's Playground. If you haven't had a chance, really go check it out. I know there were some things online about the play surface. I promise you, if you walk on it, if you watch people, they are able to move strollers, they're able to move wheelchairs. It is ADA accessible. And the plan is, I gotta confirm with the owner, but looking at 10:30 to do one for stowaways as well. So there'll be 3 ribbon cuttings. And then once Salsa Shack gets ready, we'll work on that one again. When I spoke to Corey, he was thinking about the first week of November. He should be on your next agenda for approval for a food license. And yes, that's what I got there.
So Rich Stowaways is this Saturday as well at 10:30.
Yes, tentatively. I will send out an email confirmation tomorrow. I was gonna stop by beforehand, but both Stowaways and Sweet Cheeks have overflow traffic everywhere right now. So it's really great to see. I've been to both and we're seeing a lot of people from not around here either. They're both popular restaurant owners who've done a great job in other places they've been, and it's a great addition to the town. And if I can add something, this came up at the candidates forum the other night regarding internet. There was a woman in the audience who asked about internet, just so that everyone's aware. From the mill property all the way out to Rob's Hardware, we've had the 3-ring binder since the 90s. That's fiber. It was bought out by First Light. First Light will only service commercial entities. They will not, no matter how many in-person meetings we have with them, with town managers and IT, there's no appetite for them to do residential. The town of Orland received the grant for Fidium Fiber. Bucksport benefited because the hub is on Central Street. So that the audience knows, fiber was then run down, redundant fiber, more fiber, down Route 1, up to the Central Street hub, up to Franklin Street, down Federal, down Mill, down Pine. And there are people who live in those areas that are taking advantage of Fidium. And as I mentioned earlier, a grant has been written by Consolidated Communications, who is the parent company of Fidium, to outline for more of the community. We did write a letter of support for that, not financial, just a letter of support. It's part of the BEAD funding through the federal government. But again, that is now frozen, so there's no status update on that.
Thank you. All right. Next meeting is on the 24th. Do we need any committee meetings prior to that meeting?
Nothing that I can
I haven't,
think of.
nowhere from the skate park committee.
Great. If there's nothing else, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.